everyone. Welcome back to Wait It Gets Better. This is episode 41, and today we are talking about stalking. In my 33 years of life, I have been a victim of stalking. I have spoken about it previously, but with not as much details as I'm going to give in today's episode. But first, let me start with the facts, and in between, I will refresh your memory. Now, what is stalking? This is what the research said. Stalking is a pattern of unwanted, obsessive attention and behavior directed at a specific person that causes them to feel fear, distress, or concern for their safety. It can happen to anyone and it's committed by someone the victim knows, like an ex partner, an acquaintance, or even a stranger. Common stalking behaviors: repeated unwanted contact, calls, texts, DMs, or emails, showing up invited to someone's home, work, or places they frequent, monitoring someone's activities online or in person, or spying on the person, sending gifts, letters, or messages, even after being told to stop, threatening the person or their loved ones, and using technology to track someone like GPS or hidden cameras. Now, these are the types of stalking. Have intimate partner stalking by a current or former partner, stranger stalking by someone unknown to the victim, acquaintance stalking by someone known but not intimately, and we have cyber stalking, using the internet or tech devices to harass or track or threaten somebody. Um, with that being said, have you I don't know if Instagram feature they have now where it like puts your location on a map in Instagram. That's a little scary. I shut my location off knowing what I went through previously, and I don't know if that person's using like a burner account to like follow me on Instagram and can see my location. So please, people, shut off your locations. I don't know what's going on with this whole thing. I don't know why Instagram would do that. That's like not a very smart feature. It's like kind of like when they Apple put out the U2 album, no shade to U2, but when they put out the U2 album that nobody asked for, like nobody asked for this. Why would you put people's safety at risk? Like nobody asked for this, Instagram. Love you, but nobody asked for it. Okay, so now how does stalking affect its victims? It causes anxiety, fear, and depression, sleeping from friends and family, trouble focusing at work or at school, constant feeling of unsafe. Now, what to do if you or someone you know is being stalked? Document everything. Dates, times, screenshots, photos. Tell someone you trust. Avoid contact with the stalker. Consider a restraining order. Report it to law enforcement. Or use safety planning and privacy tools. Now, change passwords. Review social media settings. Like I just said, everyone, if you have Instagram, go into your Instagram and shut off your location on that map. It could be detrimental to your safety. Okay, so let me go into story time now. Give to the story I already have spoken about. Now, I'm not speaking about this topic because I'm harping on it, or like I'm not over it, or I'm not healed from it, or I'm holding any resentments. Speaking on this out of relevancy, and I'm giving names because these people need to be like they aren't good people and they deserve to have their names put out there because they're still out there in freedom co-signing to this behavior. So anyway, let me speak on my story. Now, it all began in 2020 when that obnoxious friend of a friend, I will never call her my friend, she set me up on Tinder. She actually put my Tinder on her phone and set me up with matches, but that was a little weird. Everyone thought that was a little weird. Anyways, I don't know why she was so obsessed with me finding somebody, probably because anyway, and I think she was vicariously living through my Tinder because she was miserable in her relationship, but that's neither here nor there. And okay, so back during the time when people didn't have to verify if they, so I was being catfished by a guy I spoke to on and off for like 11 months. I was talking to him out of boredom, if I'm being honest. Like I had nothing better to do, and everyone was in relationships around me. So I ended talking to him because I got tired of the excuses as to why we couldn't meet, and he didn't want a relationship when I asked him if he did. So I'm like, okay, well, you're never gonna meet. Every time I asked to meet you, it's been 11 months now. Every time I asked him an excuse, you completely blew me off for a bonfire I threw and invited you to. You like completely ghosted me. And then the other situations where you just didn't show up. Like, so I was like, you know what? You don't want a relationship and you keep giving me excuses. I can't go on like this. I have to move forward. Third. So then, whatever. So we stopped talking, and now what happened with him in between that time where he was the guy he called himself Max as the person he was catfishing me as. His real name was Angelo. So what happened in between him and me and Max stopping talking, between Angelo getting a job at my job. I don't know what was going on in between, but there were some things that I realized after I was in my PTSD recovery when I was like in my healing journey. I would self-reflect and I would think about these things and I started placing the pieces to the puzzle together and I realized these things. So, like I said, I'm not aware of like more shit that went on, but this is the stuff I will tell you about. Sure, he's capable of things, and who knows, but he did a lot of diabolical shit. So okay, first, back in October of 2020, there was a point where I think October 5th or 6th is when he completely didn't show up to a bonfire I put together. I like cooked, I set up like a whole charcuterie board for a bonfire, whatever. I invited all my friends. He didn't show up, completely didn't communicate with me that he wasn't coming, like off. It completely and so that was October. So then fast forward to late friend at the time was having a Halloween party. This guy, Guillermo, who I had previously in a math class at Suffolk, I didn't think anything of it. He showed up alone. So this is at that time, I didn't think anything of it. Oh, Guillermo's here by himself. Like, okay, whatever. Now, Guillermo was best friends with this guy named Vinny. Vinny was mentioned by Max previously that he knew, like Max or Angelo knew Vinny, and Vinny's best friends with Guillermo. So I didn't think anything of this at the time. I'm like, whatever, it's innocent. Guillermo just knows the guy who's hosting the party. He showed up. Whatever. I didn't think anything of it. And I knew him. He was a cool guy. I didn't think anything of it, but obviously sent there to watch me from Angelo because there was a connection there. Okay. And then whatever. I didn't think anything of it. And then I started talking to, Max, who was and really Angelo. Started talking to him, whatever, and then we stopped talking again, and that, "Do you want a relationship? Like, why can we never meet?" Then we ended things, and then fast forward to the summer of 2023 summer of 2022, 2023, his um brother, I forget what his name was, um yeah, I didn't care too much. He gets a job at my job, but he ends up getting fired. And by that point, I was moved on and time had progressed and I was moving forward. That's what you do. You move forward. When somebody you were just talking to, it wasn't like a full on relationship. It was just we were just talking. So whatever. It was no skin off my back. So I was moving on with my life and I was moving on with the person I was best friends with my time talking to Angelo or Max. I would say Angelo and Max. Max is his catfish name and Angelo is his real name. So I was talking to my best friend. But during the time I was talking to, Max or Angelo, um, I my best friend had a boyfriend. So, you know what I mean? Like, there was nothing fishy going on, but time that on my best friend at the time had repressed feelings for me even though he had a boyfriend. So, it was like a whole thing, but, nothing fishy was going on. But, okay. So, let's go back to so he had his brother get a job with me. He got fired, didn't think anything of it. But the creepy thing is that at my that job, there all our phone numbers and things were on this like wall. So obviously he at that point he had access to my phone number, which is kind of creepy. I knew my work schedule via his brother. Okay, whatever, didn't think anything of it. But he did ask me a question. The brother asked me a question. He's like, "Guys, what happens if my girlfriend sleepover with her gay best friend and like, like how do I asked her, and I'm like, "Okay," I didn't think anything of it, and obviously, he was asking that to get people's opinions because at the time I was talking to Angelo or Max. Um, at the time, I was having sleepovers and hanging out every day with my best friend at the time and things. Obviously, I was gushing about the things that were going on at the time to the brother and my coworkers between me and my best friend that was, I was hanging out with every day while I was talking to the other guy. So obviously he was questioning things. Anyways, so, you know, it's a very like weird situation. Um so okay. I'm trying to read. I wrote all this in my notes, but I'm speaking offhand now about this situation. So, okay, so whatever. So the brother gets fired. So I was moving on little by little, like me and my best friend. It wasn't a relationship. It was what it was. It was more than it was a friendship, but it was more than a friendship. Like things were going on between us, whatever. And obviously this was known to Jello. So he gets a job with me that October. And that October I was already like, slowly moving towards like, getting into more of like a not was asked to be his girlfriend. That guy, my best friend at the time, asked me to be his girlfriend, but I didn't have a response to the question because I was confused. I was like, because previous to that, he had done something that were like playing games to my attention, but it also confused me. That whole situation was very confusing. Whatever. I didn't have if if things went differently with that situation, if he hadn't have played those games that he played and like that completely confused me, I would have said yes, I'll be your girlfriend 100%. But it's where my mind was at the time. I was very confused. Anyways, so obviously this information was known to Angelo. He's now Angelo. Came into my job to work with me at that deli. So he sent that person who was connected between him and my best friend at the time. His name is Vinny. He dated my best friend for like not even a second. Best friend even admitted he wasn't really like in love with him. It was whatever. It was lust. Wasn't really in love with him. The guy was like an idiot. So anyways, so yeah, so he sent him in as a distraction. So once again, this was another person. This is a third person now that is co-signing to someone stalking another human being. So, however, it was what it was, and, I didn't think anything of it, and like I said, whatever he did with that ex-boyfriend at the time when he would go out and party with him and do all these things, I don't care. We weren't in a serious relationship, so it wasn't considered cheating. So whatever people thought it was or whatever narrative they made about that situation, it wasn't a serious relationship for me to even but it was hurtful because in a sense. Come on now. Sorry, my mic second. Sorry, guys, my microphone went out for a second. So I'll get back to where I was, and I'm not restarting this because I'm already 13 minutes in. So he sent the guy's ex in, my best friend's ex in to distract him so he can get me to himself. But I did notice some weird things here and there that were being said. Like the first day that I met Angelo, the first thing he said to me was, "I made a lot of sacrifices for us." I'm like, "I'm sorry, sir, who are you?" And he's like, "I'm gonna make you my mango." I'm like, "Okay." Like I looked at this kid like, "Who are you? You're weird." And I did communicate this with my best friend at the time. Cause like I said, like it wasn't a relationship. We were best friends, but also there was like a weird it was blurring the lines between friendship and other things. So whatever. So I did tell him that and I was like, this guy is freaking weird. Um, you know, it it was very strange behavior, but also as time went on, he made my bosses and my coworkers aware of it. So you're aware that this guy used to catfish me and he followed me into this job. And you're like, "Oh, that's so cute." Like, you know what? I will admit, when I was talking to him for a little bit, like during that summer and that spring, I thought it was cute, but also I will give myself grace with that and say like I was a little deluded because I did have a little bit of a mental break because of the situation that I was going through. I had just like dealt with, a situation where I had to walk away from somebody I considered like family. He, in the situation at hand, left me with a lot of grief. It left me with a lot of like, it was a very heartbreaking time for me because I had to walk away from this person that I still loved and I still love to this day. And I had to walk away from him because of the situation at hand. And it was a very tough situation. So, like I wasn't gonna get over it like that. Like Angela wanted me to get over it like that because clearly the things he was putting into motion to get me away from my best friend was like, he was really trying to set things in motion. But you know what I mean? Like all these people were aware of it. So this guy was catfishing me previously and he followed me into the shop. So all you people were like, "Ah, this is so cute. Oh my god, this is romantic." But nobody really thought that like, okay, maybe something's a little weird about this guy. Like maybe, you know. Well, to be fair, a lot of the people that were coasting to this behavior weren't really like not shady people themselves. A lot of them were sleeping with the married men there and one of them was even obsessing over the married man there who didn't even want her. So it was what it was. Like the people co-signing to his behavior, it just makes sense. And you know what is so funny is that you know it's crazy. I'm glad I left that place. It is what it is. But it's it just the things like the little things I noticed here and there, like he would like sniff the back of my neck, like he would say some weird things and whatever. But my mistake was that I ended up liking him. And as I was distancing myself from the situation that was absolutely breaking me to my core, like I was starting to move towards him and I called him on FaceTime a few times, like we spoke. But one FaceTime I mentioned something with my best friend. Like I was gushing about something with my best friend, who mind you, I was still talking to him at the time, but I was slowly distancing myself. Whatever. So it 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 was a very crazy situation, but he, I said something, got him upset, and then whatever happened in between. And then I wasn't getting over my best friend the way that he wanted me to. So he started to like it was very he did a lot of very manipulative behavior, playing the victim, you know, FaceTime after the FaceTime call and whatever happened, he turned people against me, because I was still in love with my friend. And he was mad he wasn't like I said, he was mad I wasn't getting. So he did a lot of petty stuff, turned my whole job against me. Mind you, I was there before them. They didn't know what was going on, but they all turned against me. Um, he was displaying a lot of very like disturbing, spiteful, manipulative, gaslighting behavior, and he made up a whole narrative about me and our situation that could have ruined my life. Meanwhile, he was the one catfishing me, unbeknownst to me. So that just goes to show you like the type of person he was. When he didn't get his way, he could have easily done something. He reminds me of a person that if something doesn't go their way, they will go to no ends of the earth to ruin somebody's life because they were slighted in any type of way, because they didn't get their way or something didn't go their way, which is a very, very scary, scary person to deal with because like they can make up a whole lie, a whole slew of lies about you and honestly, like it can damage your life and he wouldn't care because at the end of the day he didn't get his way. It's very like narcissistic. Like I won't diagnose him. I'm not gonna diagnose somebody, but it's very psychotic behavior. So anyway, the situation between me and him when he was mad at me kind of reminds me of Steve from Stranger Things when the way he treated Nancy after she broke up with him. Like for the other guy, it was very manipulative and gaslighting behavior. Like I said, he reminds me of like a person who would know when to ruin somebody's life get his way. It's crazy. But no matter what he did to get me away from that, I call him. Do you ever see that meme? Person's like always gonna be that person, blah blah, girl, that person, never gonna stop being that person. That's why I say that guy. So that guy, at the end of the day, I still love him, and I look at Angelo with the ick because it is disturbing the things that he did. It's borderline psychotic, and you have people that were to it. You have I honestly forget his name, but who really cares? You had Vinny and you had Guillermo. Who knows who else? And the people we worked with. It's very weird. People are just sick people. You know, you would purposely request off days that my best friend at the time, my mom, worked in the house, so I wouldn't see her because regardless of where I stood, his mother was still a staple in my life. She still is. So all you just quit the job, ran away, stopped talking to me. But you had your I'm gonna call the one who threw me under the bus with her friend Julie. Um, yeah, so you had her call me that November, and that's when I changed my number but I did humble her. I said, "Who is this? Like, I don't know who you are. You don't exist to me." So I changed my number immediately after because too many people at that point had access to me, and I was in PTSD recovery from whatever I had just gone through months prior, and I needed a fresh slate. So whoever has my number now has my number because I feel safe with you having it. I'm very cautious with who I reason because like I said, in the things that I have dealt with, too many people connected with the next person that easily was doing things to I'm saying too many people are connected in this story for me to not be cautious who I give my number to. So like I said, he did what he did. He gives me the ick now. And like I said, so it's funny that you try to do everything in your power. Very selfish person. You tried to do everything in your power to get me away from my best friend who was I don't at the time that we were talking, I was very unaware of him being in love with me because he did have a boyfriend, whatever. But he did admit to me that he was in love with me, and but you also admitted to me that you were the guy catfishing me that summer that we were talking. But I was also very deluded from having a psychotic break that I thought everything you were doing was great. But I was also still in love with the person that you tried your hardest to get me away from, because let me give you a little example. The things that you did compared to the beautiful heart that that guy has, where after the bonfire that you completely blew me off and you ruined my whole night. The next day, he called me, he picked me up. We went to get food, we went to the mall, and we drove around for a bit. His was whatever happened last night, like I feel really bad for him. He's like, I'm really sorry that this really happened. Like empathy towards me. That is the type of beautiful heart is the type of heart that I want somebody. That's the type of person I want to have my person who does like that for somebody after the shit that you put the night before. But then fast forward to years later, you wanted to ruin that for me. But then you ended up running away. So Howard. So anyway, and I think after that number, I spoke to her again because she's not my friend, never was. And then a year later, this sweet boy, I won't mention his name because I liked him. He was sweet. I ran into him at CVS. I wonder why. I wonder why. I wonder who set that up. But the funny thing is that same kid, his mom worked at my job, but there was nothing shady going on with that. She worked there before me, but it was really funny. She's a sweet woman. I hope you two know the type of person that your son is friends with because he is not who you think he is. He's not a good person. And I hope the people who to all this obsessive stalker behavior can wake him and snap him out of it. Now, I don't know what he's got going on in his life, but just know that no, he's not a good person. So that's my story time for today. That story is going to be put to bed because I no longer have a reason to talk about the situation. I brought up this topic of stalking for no reason other than to educate people on. I previously spoke about domestic violence. Now my topic is stalking. My next episode will be about PTSD. So I will talk about like repeated stories out of relevancy because I'm still harping on it, not because like I'm not over it, but out of relevancy. I do this podcast to talk about topics to help other people and erase the stigma. So when I do talk about the PTSD in the next episode, there will be repeated stories or there will be things that I previously spoke about out of relevancy to get my point across. So now we are done with story time. Let's get back into the facts. So if you are being stalked, it is important to take it seriously, trust your instincts, and take steps to protect yourself. Stalking is not just creepy, it's dangerous and can escalate over time. Now, we've seen that previously with the Idaho murders, where those people were being stalked by that guy who killed all those people in that house. It's a sad situation. It's a scary situation, and it's very scary the world we live in now. And I feel like stalking is more prevalent now that social media is a thing. It's scary. It's very scary. So, here's what to do if you're being stalked. This is what the research said. Do not engage with a stalker. Don't respond to calls, text messages, or gifts. Avoid confrontation. Don't try to reason with them. Cutting off contact is usually the safest. Safest. That is what I did. But whatever. Document everything. Keep a detailed log of every incident, dates, times, locations, what happened. Save texts, emails, voicemails, DMs, or letters. Take screenshots and photos of any evidence. If you are or approach, write down what the person said and how they behaved. Tell someone and get support. Talk to a trusted friend, family, or counselor. Don't isolate. Support is key. Staying safe. Let your work or school know if necessary. Create a safety. Vary your daily routines and travel routine routes. Um, which is scary because in my situation, the person worked with me, so he knew my everyday schedule of when I was working, when I was leaving. Like we worked till the same time. So he could have easily followed me home, knows where I like it was just a very slippery slope. Anyways, arrange a safe place to go if you feel threatened. Share your plan with people you trust. Avoid posting your location on social media. That's one thing that I don't do is I wait until I leave somewhere to post where I was or where I'm at or what I'm doing for safety reasons. Strengthen your privacy and security. Update your privacy settings on social media. Now, I was previously for a specific reason private on Instagram. Now I'm not, and I'm no longer. I'm not letting that situation get the best of me because I did start content creating, and I do want to start getting views and likes and things like that. I want to build on that. So I don't want to keep myself in a cage because of other people and their behavior. I want to be able to live my life without letting that situation define me and the things that I'm doing in the present moment. So change your passwords frequently, turn off your location sharing. That's Yes, do that on Instagram, people. I highly suggest it. And consider getting a new phone number and email address. 100%. Report to the police. Bring your documentation and evidence. Ask about getting a restraining order or protective order. If you are in immediate danger, call 911 or your local emergency number and get professional help. Contact the stalking or domestic violence hotline for guidance. Many local organizations can help with safety planning, legal advice, and emotional support. And here are some resources. Go to the Stalking Resources Center at www.victimsofcrime.org, the National Domestic Violence Hotline, 800-799-7233. Let me repeat that. The National Domestic Violence Hotline is 1-800-799-7233. Or Love the Young People. You can text Love Is. I think it's one word. Because both topics, when I Guys, sorry, my microphone went out again. Ugh, I can't wait to get new equipment. So, love is respect for young people. Now, I know this is one word because in the previous topic, it gave me this same resource. When I talk about domestic violence, it gave me this previous resource, and it was love is one word. So I think you text love is, which is LOVEIS, to 22522. The number is 22522. Now, here are some important and often shocking facts about stalking. General stalking facts: 1 in 3 women and 1 in 6 men in the US have experienced stalking at the same point in their lives. Young adults 18 to 24 are the most commonly targeted group. Most stalking victims are stalked by someone they know, often an ex-partner, acquaintance, or coworker. And 67% of female victims and 41% of male victims are stalked by a current or former intimate partner. Um, Now, over 60% of stalkers pursue their victims at least once per week, and many use more than one method. Now, psychological or emotional impact. Victims often experience anxiety, depression, sleep problems, and PTSD. Many victims change their daily habits, such as quitting their job, moving, or avoiding social life out of fear. Stalking can escalate. Physical violence or sexual assault, especially in cases involving ex partners. Now, cyber stalking facts. Cyber stalking includes tracking, harassment, impersonation, or threats. Stalkers often use social media, GPS, tracking, or spyware to monitor their victims. And tech based stalking is increasing, especially through apps, fake accounts, or hacked devices. Now, behavior patterns of stalkers. Stalkers may seem obsessive, controlling, jealous, or entitled. That's what Angelo was. He was very controlling, very jealous. I've spoken about his jealous behavior previously. Um, Now, their behavior usually is persistent and escalates over time. Some stalkers don't even realize their actions are harmful, while others are very deliberate. 100% that's what he was. Very deliberate. He was very calculated and deliberate. Now, here are the legal facts. All 50 US states have laws against stalking, but the definitions and penalties vary. Protective orders or restraining orders can legally prohibit contact, but stalkers sometimes violate them. Stalking is a criminal offense and should be always taken seriously, even if it starts small. Important to know that stalking is about power and control, not love or admiration. 100%. I never thought that anything he was doing was out of love. I will never say I love that person because I think they love me. That behavior was not, was very, very psychotic. Victims are never to blame for stalkers' behavior. Early intervention can prevent escalation and save. Now, let me give you some celebrities who have spoken about stalking previously. We'll hear about it in the news. This is what the research said. So many celebrities have been victims of stalking, sometimes with terrifying consequences. Here are some well known cases to highlight how stalking can affect anyone, regardless of fame or security. So we have Taylor Swift. Why did my microphone give out again? I'm sorry, guys. I can't stand this mic. I gotta get a new microphone one of these days. Um, Stalkers have broken into her homes and sent disturbing messages. One man was arrested for breaking into her New York City townhouse and sleeping in her bed. That's, oh God, sleeping in her bed? That's crazy. She's been outspoken about the importance of safety and supports stronger anti-stalking laws. There's Sandra Bullock. A stalker broke into her home while she was inside and hid in her closet. She locked herself in her bedroom and called 911. The stalker has a history of obsession and was later found with a loaded weapon. Oh my God! Thank God it never made its way to her. Thank God. I love Sandra Bullock. Rihanna. A man was caught breaking into her home and claimed he was there to have sex with her. And she had multiple stalkers, both online and in person. Gwyneth Paltrow, she was stalked for over 17 years by a man who sent her obscene letters and emails. The stalker had previously been institutionalized but resumed contact after release. Ariana Grande, one man reportedly showed up at her home, even pulls a knife on her security team, and another sent. You guys get that? Okay, let me repeat that because my microphone just went out again. I'm so sorry, guys. Bear with me. The struggle is real. Um, Ariana Grande, he repeatedly showed up at her home and even pulled a knife on her security team, and another sent thousands of messages and tried to violate a restraining order. Keira Knightley, a stalker meowed through her mail slot and left disturbing notes outside her home, and she feared for her safety and her family's well-being. We have Justin Bieber, a stalker plotted to kidnap and harm him, including an attempt to castrate him, and the plot was thankfully foiled before it could happen. Jennifer Lawrence, she was targeted online by a cyberstalker who hacked her private photos. I remember this. They posted her photo. That's scary. The case was brought to national attention to online stalking and privacy violations. Madonna was dealt with multiple stalkers over the years. I could imagine. Um, one broke into her home and was found rifting through her bedroom. She obtained several restraining orders and has increased personal security. Smart move. Selena Gomez, a man broke into her house multiple times despite restraining orders. She's spoken publicly about how stalking has affected her mental health and safety. Now, stalking doesn't target just celebrities, it affects millions of regular people too. Their stories raise awareness and help push for stronger laws, support systems, and survivor protections. Now, research shows that victims of stalking are more likely to experience anxiety, insomnia, social dysfunction, and severe depression compared to general population. Stalking is a crime in all 50 states, Washington, D.C., the U.S. territories, and federal government. Stalking laws generally define the crime as a course of conduct that causes a victim to fear bodily harm or substantial emotional distress. It can include the following: harassing. Oh no, okay, I read that wrong. It can include following, harassing, or cyber stalking someone, or making credible threats. Stalking can also involve using electronic devices to surveil someone without authorization. And here's a brief overview of stalking laws. Federal laws. A conviction can result in up to 5 years of prison and $250,000 fine. Aggravated stalking, the third-degree felony that can occur when someone repeatedly harasses, follows, or cyberstalks a minor, or makes credible threat. A course of conduct can include maintaining physical or visual proximity to someone, making repeated threats, or using electronic devices to surveil someone. Sentences can range from 2.5 to 5 years in prison, up to 10,000 for a first-degree misdemeanor, and 3.5 to 7 years, up to 15,000 for third degree. Criminal record, a conviction can impact professional opportunities. Now, here are some trusted confidential resources that you can turn to if someone you know is experiencing stalking. National resources in the U.S. Stalking Prevention Awareness and Resource Center, which is SPARC. The website is www.stalkingawareness.org. Let me repeat that. The website is www.stalkingawareness.org. It offers education, safety planning tools, and information on stalking laws, and it provides training and resources for both victims and professionals. National Domestic Violence Hotline, I've shared that already, but let me repeat it. National Domestic Violence Hotline is 1-800-799-7233. 1-800-799-7233, or you can text START to 88788. You can text START to 88788. The website is www.thenational. I said that completely wrong. I don't know where I got the national from. The website is www.thehotline.org. www.thehotline.org. It's available 24/7, and it can help with stalking, domestic violence, and safety planning. And it offers a chat support too. The Victim Connect Resource Center is 1-800. Sorry, what is going on? I need sleep. It is 1-855-484-2846. The number is 1-855-484-2846. The website is www.victimconnect.org. www.victimconnect.org for confidential assistance for victims of all crimes, including stalking. It offers referrals to local services, legal help, and emotional support. Now we have the Cyber Civil Rights Initiative for online stalking and revenge porn. The website is www.cybercivilrights.org. www.cybercivilrights.org. It offers help for people experiencing online harassment, non-consensual image sharing, and digital stalking. It has a 24/7 crisis helpline, and the number for that is 1-844-878-2274. The number for that is 1-844-878-2274. Oh, sorry, let me repeat that. 1-844-878-2274. And then we have RAIN, which is the Rape, Abuse, and Incest National Network. The number for that is 1-800-656-4673. The number is 1-800-656-4673. The website is www.rain, which is spelled, this is how it's spelled, www.rainn.org, so 2 N's. It offers support for stalking victims, especially those experiencing sexual threats or trauma. And here's some local help. Contact your local domestic violence shelter or women's shelter. Many offer stalking support, even if the abuse wasn't physical. Legal aid offices in your area can assist with restraining orders. Local law enforcement and victim advocates can help file reports and connect you with resources. You have digital safety tools, Google Safety Center, which is safety.google, Apple Safety Check for iPhones that lets you manage apps, access, and location sharing, and Take Back the Tech, which is www.takebackthetech.net. So here are some gentle, empowering affirmations. I always like to give the resources and affirmations when it comes to these topics. I was literally reading back my previous episodes and how I started to where I'm at now. I feel like the way I'm kind of framing these episodes, I've come to a more developed and organized view of what I want to do with these episodes. But it's crazy how from March to now, these episodes have taken a whole new shape. My mind has completely I've noticed with this podcast, I've become more educated in different topics. I've shared stories and I've healed from sharing those stories that I previously kept to myself, and saying these things out loud has helped me. Because I would internalize a lot. I would tell my therapist, but I also internalize it. And a lot of me telling these stories that I tell has definitely healed me in an immense way, where I'm able to share the things that I went through and also forgive the people I didn't think I would ever forgive. Or, like I said, this whole podcast has done amazing things for not just myself. And I'm hoping that people are actually listening to this, because it has not only helped me, I hope it's helping other people. But like I said, I'm reading resources and affirmations now. Affirmations are my favorite thing. But let me read you some affirmations. So here are some gentle, empowering affirmations for anyone experiencing stalking. These are meant to help to ground you, affirm your worth, and remind you of your strength, especially during a time of fear, anxiety, or isolation. Now, here are some affirmations. I have the right to feel safe and protected. My boundaries are valid, and I do not owe anyone access to me. I trust my instincts. They are here to protect me. I am not to blame for someone else's harmful behavior. I am taking back control of my life one step at a time. I am strong even when I feel afraid. Fear does not define me. Courage is acting despite fear. I am not alone. Support is available and I deserve it. Each day I am reclaiming my peace. I will not let this person take away my sense of self. Excuse me. I am worthy of love, respect, and freedom. I deserve to be seen, heard, and believed. My life matters. My story matters, and I am more than what has happened to me. My voice is powerful even if it shakes. And the situation will not last forever. Like I said, this too shall pass. Healing is possible, and I'm ready on that path. I am creating a future where I feel safe and free. There is light on the other side of this. I believe in my ability to rise and move forward. Now, this is tips for supporting yourself or someone who is being stalked. It is crucial. Stalking is very traumatic, exhausting, and frightening. And whatever you're experiencing, if you're trying to help somebody or help yourself, here are some tips. Now, here's how to support yourself if you're being stalked. Acknowledge that it's real. Trust your instincts. If something feels wrong, it probably is. Don't let people gaslight you, or don't gaslight yourself. Um, you don't need to prove the stalker's intent to take action. Your discomfort is enough. Document everything. Keep a log of every incident, date, time, location, description. Save text or voicemail, social media messages, and photos. Take screenshots and back them up to a safe place, cloud storage, or a trusted friend. Tighten your digital security. Change all passwords and use two-factor authentication. Turn off your location sharing on apps, Instagram now, and devices. Set your social media profiles to private, and avoid posting real-time updates, tagging locations. Create a safety plan, plan safe routes, places to go, emergency contacts, vary your routines, work, errands, and travel. Keep your phone keep your phone charged and on you at all times. Let trusted people know about your situation. Report the stalking. Go to the police with your documentation. Ask about protective or restraining orders. Even if they can't act immediately, having it on record helps. Take care of your mental health. You are not weak for needing support. Consider trauma-informed counseling therapy and use grounding techniques to reduce anxiety. Now, here's how to support someone who is being stalked. Believe them and take it seriously. Don't minimize or question their experience. Are you sure? Or maybe it's just a coincidence. Something like I said, some things are coincidences, but most of them they're not. So believe your friend when they tell you something. Let them talk at their own pace. Listen without judgment. Offer emotional support. Say things like, "You're not overreacting. You don't deserve this. You're not alone. I'm here for you." Help them stay safe. Help them create a safety plan if they're open to it. Offer to accompany them to work, school, or court. If they feel unsafe, offer like a ride or something, or just be there with them. Encourage, but don't force them to report the stalking. And respect their privacy. Don't share their location or situation without permission. Avoid tagging them in social media or posting where you are together. And connect them with resources. Share links or numbers for SPARC, the hotline, which is 1-800-789-7233, the local victim advocacy groups or centers, and offer to help them contact legal or mental health professionals. And here's a reminder. Stalking survivors often feel isolated, powerless, and afraid. Your support, quiet, consistent, and non-judgmental, can help them feel seen and safe again. Now, thank you guys for listening today. This was something I've spoken about previously, but before I did this podcast, I never said any of this situation out loud to anybody. I did report it to my not report it, I did tell my ex-best friend who I was not that, I was going to say that guy. I did tell his mother about it because I did know, I do send like text her things I know back to him. And I did tell her in a whole 20-minute voicemail because I did go to a store one day and I was fearful because I was being followed from when I was going from my house to the store. I noticed the car was following me and the person got out of the car. Like, it was just this whole thing. And my parents were away on vacation at the time, and she's the one person I go to for prayers and who I have to vent to. And at the time I was venting to her. And because she knows that's when I decided to open up to her about it. That was like last spring. I decided to open up to her about it. I'm like, listen, here's the situation. This needs to be heard. I said, this really needs to be heard. She's like, oh, blah, 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 20 minutes. I'm like, no, this needs to be heard. Like, I need to open up about this. And after I opened up that 20-minute recording of that, like, she validated what I was saying. After I opened up about that, I felt more, she was so comforting about it. I felt more comfortable saying the story out loud, that it was so healing for me to be able to speak about it, because I didn't speak about it previously, and now I'm even more platform now, like a whole podcast I'm talking about it. But like I said, I'm not talking about it because I'm harping on her. I'm not over it. I'm so over it. I'm so healed from it. Like, you wouldn't know the point of healing that I'm at right now. Like, I'm still on the journey of healing. Healing is not linear. I'll have my days where I'm completely depressive and in my own little mood, but it has nothing to do with what happened in the past. I'm way past those things. But I'm in such a healed place right now. that I'm sharing this story to help the next person, and also it's entertaining because it's like not entertaining in a sense where I'm like I'm trying to get like views or likes from it because I don't know if some of you, none of you, or all of you listen to this, but telling this story is kind of healing for me, and I hope it helps other people. No, they're not alone. That there are situations that happen like that out there, and that you can share your story and get the help and get the guidance that you need. So like I said, ugh, God, I'm not sharing this because I'm harping on it. I'm sharing it because it can happen to the next person, and other people need this information to, help themselves or others. So, like I said, thank you guys for listening. Next episode will be about PTSD. Another story time with that because I do have the intersectionality with this to speak about it. PTSD has profoundly affected my life. It at one point was very debilitating because I was very at a now I'm at a point where, like I said, I spoke about previously, I'm at a point where I can go out in public and not feel so fearful of my surroundings. But I'm now at a point where like I'm more comfortable in public. But it did get to a point where like it was making me afraid to go out and do things. Like I was afraid when I go on Uber rides and go out in public, I would like come home and have like panic. It's crazy. So PTSD is the next topic. Now it's something I'm learning more and more about, and I love talking about it because I like to talk about my experiences to help the next person. So if you or anyone you know is struggling, you can text home to 741-741, the crisis text line, for a free confidential conversation with a trained counselor at any time of day. Text or call 988 or use the chat function at 988lifeline.org. 988 continues to offer support to anyone who needs it, but no longer offers specialized LGBTQIA plus support. If you're looking for specialized LGBTQIA plus support, you can contact the Trevor Project directly 24/7. Call 1-866-488-7386 or text START to 678-678 or connect online at trvr.org slash net. Excuse me, let me repeat that. trvr.org slash get dash help for same free and secure support as always. And you can find more crisis resources at thejedfoundation.org/crisis. And the new lifeline for the LGBTQIA plus community given by Canada. Due to it being taken away by the United States, they're offering their help. God bless Canada. The number for that is 1-877-330-6366. Now, thank you guys for listening. I'll see you guys next time. Remember, this too shall pass. Love you guys. Stay well. Bye bye.